Good morning, boys and girls. It's good to be back for another Children's Corner in Sunday School this week. This week, we're looking at a couple of stories from the Bible, one from the Old Testament and one from the New Testament. And we're going to ask you a question. Which one are you? But before that, let me ask you an easier question. If you phone 999, what happens? Somebody will ask you if you want the police or the fire brigade or so on, or an ambulance, and you tell them which one you want, and you expect them to come fairly quickly because there's an emergency. What would you do if they said, "We're busy, we can't be bothered today, we've too much else to do, we'll come tomorrow instead"? Well, if their house is burning down, it's going to be a bit late if the fire brigade come tomorrow. If somebody's sick, it's going to be a bit late if the ambulance comes tomorrow. You need them and you expect them straight away. Our two stories are about people being called and asked to do jobs. The first one is one that you probably know a little bit from the Old Testament. It's from the book of Jonah. God called Jonah and gave him a job. God said, "Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh and tell the people there to repent because they're doing bad things and they won't listen." And Jonah did the opposite. Nineveh was over to the east, so Jonah went to the west. He went right away to the coast and got in a boat and sailed away as far away as he could from God and from Nineveh. And in the boat, God sent a storm, and you know the story, Jonah ended up inside the belly of a big fish and so on. And eventually, Jonah gave in and he said, "Okay, God, if this is what you want, I'll do it." You can read the story. The story hits the whole book of Jonah in the Old Testament. Our New Testament story is a much shorter one. It's only a few verses from Mark chapter 1, verses 14 to 20. And it's about Jesus calling his first disciples. And the thing that stands out in that story is the word immediately. As soon as God calls, they say immediately they leave their nets and follow him. There's no thinking about it. There's no saying, well, maybe I could get a better offer. Maybe I'll do it in a few years when I'm older or better prepared. But now's not a good time. When God calls, they say immediately. And so the question I want to ask you to think about today is, when God calls you, what do you say? Are you like Jonah? Do you run away from God? Try and get as far away as you can? Or are you like those first disciples and say immediately, "Yes, of course, I will do it. I will follow you. Whatever you want, God. Just tell me and I will do it." Because God calls each one of us. Every day of life, God calls us to live for him, to pray to him, to know him better. But God also calls us to do some extraordinary things for him. He might be calling you to ministry. He might be calling you to be a missionary. He might be calling you to be a nurse or a teacher, or all sorts of different things that we can do for God. He might simply be calling us to care for one another, to give ourselves in serving one another, to be kind, to be thoughtful, to be a good friend, to be compassionate. God calls us to do many things. Some of them at home and in our school and work and play and the things we do every day, and some of them at the other end of the world. Like Jonah, he might call us to go to Nineveh. Like the disciples, he might call us to preach and be fishers of men. But what will we say when we hear God call? Will we say, "Yes"? Like Samuel last week, we say, "Here am I, the servant of the Lord. Let it be with me according to your word"? Or will we say, "Not today, Lord"? Our song today is from the Red Hymn Books, number 570, "Give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning." God bless you, God keep you safe, and see you again next week.